Hello, I'm Andrew Pritchard, and thank you for watching today's Canada Regional Forecast, brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. As we check out the satellite loop here across the Canadian prairies on Tuesday morning, we've got a frontal boundary moving through the area right now, bringing cooler conditions to the area and also bringing an end to kind of the widespread thunderstorm and severe weather activity that we've seen across parts of the Canadian prairies over the last few days, and again, bringing a cooler air mass into the region, shutting down the precipitation, the widespread precipitation, at least for the next few days. Take a look at the radar right now over parts of southern Alberta. We've got some rain shower activity in the Calgary area coming off the Front Range area in a narrow corridor there. And then if we flip over to the east, also across parts of southern Manitoba, along that front, we've seen a couple spotty showers and storms south of Winnipeg early on Tuesday morning. We may see a couple of showers and storms in this area, but again, kind of bringing things to a close here in any significant fashion over the next 3 to 4 days. So a drier finish to the week for many across the Canadian prairies here, seeing some precipitation chances, especially during the later part of the week across the Front Range here in parts of Alberta, and maybe, again, scattered activity across southern portions here, but really over the next 5 days, shifting the corridor of more widespread precipitation south across the Dakotas and the upper Midwest of the United States. As we look at the next 6 to 10 days, though, precipitation chances ramp back up as we get into the weekend, and then especially early next week for the Canadian prairie is going to be our next significant chance for rainfall right around the July 6th through the 10th time frame, and we'll talk about why that is here in just a moment. Temperatures over the next 5 days behind this frontal boundary are going to be cooler across Canadian prairies, again taking us through July 7th, and then the 5 days that follow that, July 8th through the 12th, shifting back to closer to normal here. Some hints of maybe some cooler temperatures there, some areas of warmer temperatures, but by and large, as we talk about the July 8th through the 12th time frame, are going to be closer to normal in the temperature department across the Canadian prairies. The severe weather outlook for today, again, the very, very far southeastern corner of Manitoba, maybe with an isolated severe storm as that front pushes south of the area, but everyone else here getting a break from the severe weather for the day today and for probably the next couple of days in any widespread fashion. Soil moisture, checking in with that here and looking at the expected change over the next 7 to 8 days. Again, kind of highlighting the far southern areas for some areas that we could see some reprieval. Again, I think it's really going to be as we get to the back half of the weekend into early next week before we see the next chance for really significant rainfall across the Canadian prairies. And here's a look at why that is. We can see we're looking at precipitable water here, so the amount of moisture in the atmosphere, if you were to kind of wring that out, how much would be available for precipitation. And I talked about in my last update here on Friday how this front moving through here on the Monday-Tuesday timeframe was really going to take the deeper moisture that we've had available for rain and thunderstorms and kind of kick that south of the area. So let's play it out. And what you're seeing now, you see the green and the yellow colors up here. That's your higher moisture content. When you get into the brown colors, that's obviously very dry air mass. And right now you're seeing that frontal boundary in this area of low pressure right here. And watch as this loop plays, you see the moisture be kind of shunned and kicked off to the south of the border. There it is as we go through the next few days. Now we get to the end of this loop, and I'm going to play it out a bit further. You start to see the moisture starting to return first in the Front Range here, parts of Alberta, but then eventually across the entire Canadian prairie region. Let's play this one more time, but take it out a bit further. And there, as we get into early next week, you start to see the moisture return to the Canadian prairies here after a bit of a drier spell, again taking us through the remainder of the week. So what happens overall? What are we looking at with the jet stream? Well, here is the big trough right now that is responsible for the cooler air mass, which was responsible for some of the stronger storms across the Canadian prairies, and right now what is going to be responsible for kind of shutting things down as we get to the backside. Also in my last video on Friday, I kind of talked about how the dynamics of a trough work. On the leading edge there, this is where you get the, that's not supposed to be a question mark, that's where you get the upward vertical motion. On the backside of the trough, this is where you get the sinking motion, much quieter air mass. So on the leading edge there, we saw the rain and the thunderstorms. On the backside now, we're going to be quieting down across the Canadian prairies for the next, the next 3 to 4 days or so. We'll play this out, and we're going to go ahead and we'll step through time with this one so I can kind of time things out. As we go through the next couple of days, this trough really kind of spins down and moves slowly off to the east. As we get into the late part of the week and into the weekend, kind of building some ridging into parts of the prairies here, and that may mean another temporary warm-up for the weekend. But then check it out. Here's our next storm system now over the west, the Pacific Northwest of the United States. This trough continues to build into the region early next week. By the time we get to Tuesday now, this trough located right about here, And where are we now across the Canadian prairies? We are right on the leading edge of that trough, back into an area of strong vertical motion. Sorry, they're knocking things over on the table. Hopefully it wasn't too loud in the microphone. But as we get into the early part of next week, starting around Sunday, but I think really as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, bringing those precipitation chances back into the Canadian prairies. So let's time out. We'll look at the precipitation forecast. We're looking at 6-hour accumulated precipitation. So every 6 hours, the total accumulated precipitation. So we just kind of play this out quickly over the next couple days. You're seeing this big area of low pressure spinning down across the region. And that brings, again, maybe some light rain chances to parts of the northern portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, but the Canadian prairie staying dry here with this. As we get now into, we're getting into Thursday morning, again, maybe seeing some rain shower activity across the Front Range here, parts of Alberta for the day on Thursday. Maybe a couple isolated showers for the day on Friday in far southern Saskatchewan, but by and large, the Canadian prairies remaining dry until we get into the weekend. Now we're into Saturday, seeing maybe widely isolated showers and storms in this general range region here, southern Saskatchewan, southern Alberta. But then as we start to get into Sunday and Monday, you're starting to see these more organized, denser areas of showers and storms popping up, and these are going to be where we expect to see maybe the exact timing on this is going to be hard to pin down, but it shows the shift in the pattern here, getting us back into a pattern that favors these organized areas of thunderstorms, the potential for some severe weather as well, as we talk about that here in just a moment. But kind of from west to east as we go Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, bringing those rain chances back into the area, lingering even into the day Wednesday perhaps across southern portions of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now the timing again, we'll hit this a bit harder with the forecast on Tuesday, but just showing you the broad shift here, maybe a drier overall pattern as we talk about the last half of this week, and then shifting back to a more active pattern across the Canadian prairies beginning early next week. Looking at the available atmospheric instability, CAPE, convective available potential energy, this is the fuel that drives those thunderstorms. And again, with this time of year, we're looking for values kind of in this range above 2,000 to support, widespread severe weather or organized severe to strong storms. And as you look across the Canadian prairies, we'll play this out. Not much going on over the next few days on the backside of this frontal boundary that moved through, again, Monday and Tuesday. And then as we get into probably the beginning of the weekend, the later half of the weekend, and then early next week, we start to reintroduce this instability to the region. And that, again, is going to support more organized storms and the return of some severe weather to parts of the Canadian prairies here Saturday through Wednesday of next week. We can take this out a little bit further, and you just see it there kind of move from west to east with that storm system across the Canadian prairies, that fuel for organized strong to severe storms and the driver of some precipitation across the region. So again, where do we get most of our rainfall during the summer? It's from these thunderstorms. So we look for the ingredients for those storms, and that's what we see here when we talk about the period getting into early next week. We'll just talk one more time, one more way of kind of visualizing this about the precipitation chances here. We'll loop out the total accumulated precipitation over the next 10 days, and you see it largely dry across the Canadian prairies when this loop begins. But then towards the second half of the loop, watch it fill in there. This is that Sunday through Wednesday, Saturday through Wednesday time frame across the Canadian prairies, that next significant chance for rainfall in the area. We'll zoom in to finish it off. Looking at Alberta, we'll loop this out as well. We'll click through time here once I get the cursor available at the very bottom. Again, maybe some light rain chances in the Front Range here for the middle part of this week, but by and large, the significant precipitation moves in here Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, with heavier precipitation expected across central and southern Alberta. Your high temperatures here cooler on the backside of that frontal boundary, upper teens to near 20 for the day Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday, maybe some rain shower activity in the area, some cloud cover keeping us cooler as well, warming up slightly as we head into the weekend. Again, with that subtle ridging setting up over the area. In advance of the next storm system, we warm in advance of that storm system early next week. So Saturday and Sunday a bit warmer before rain activity and storm activity moves back in early next week. Flipping over to the east, looking at Manitoba and Saskatchewan, similar picture here. You see it's very quiet across the Canadian prairies, the southern prairie region here, until we get to the back half of the loop here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Perhaps beginning in Alberta Saturday and Sunday, but then likely Monday through Wednesday going to be the best chance for precipitation across Saskatchewan and Manitoba. High temperatures here for the next 5 days, upper teens to near 20 degrees for the day on Tuesday. Wednesday, very similar. Thursday warming up slightly here. Friday and Saturday slightly warmer still. Again, warming up in advance of that next storm system that arrives early next week. So warmer Saturday and Sunday before rain chances pick back up Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Sunday morning ag forecast or our Monday morning ag forecast video. And I'll have your next Thursday morning. Wow, I'm all over the place. I don't know what day of the week it is. I'll have your next Canada regional update for you midday on Friday. Have a great day.